Hi, I'm Tim. Welcome to our channel, and thanks for logging on. Today, I'm going to walk you through every phase of the usage, care, and maintenance of your Bell & Ross instrument BR0394-Heritage. It's important to note that underneath its solid caseback, there is a kinetic winding mass that will wind your watch automatically. But should you wish to manually wind your watch, for example, if it should run down, simply take the crown in its first position flush to the case and turn it 25 to 35 turns to start the movement. At that point, you'll be able to set the watch, use the chronograph, synchronize the date to the current calendar, and the watch will continue to wind itself. But if you wish to fully energize the watch's power reserve up to its roughly 40 to 42 hour maximum rated autonomy, simply continue turning the crown. As a rule of thumb, 45 to 50 turns will fully energize the watch, or listen for the subtle click or tick from inside the case. That's the bridle style mainspring slipping in the barrel to avoid overwinding. It's designed to relieve excess stress and strain so you cannot accidentally overwind the watch. As a result, simply listen for that audible cue and you will be ready to use your timepiece. It's important to note that there are two subsidiary setting functions. One is stop seconds. This is the setting mode for the watch. You'll note that the constant seconds hand is stopped at the index at 60. That's by my intention. You want to stop at the index at 60 and then go online, find an atomic clock, the best source that is accurate and set to your time zone. Then set your watch to the correct hour. Let's say it's 6:04. And then set the watch to the correct hour and the next nearest minute. Not the current minute, but the next nearest minute. Wait for your reference time to catch up so that it indicates the same hour, minute, and the seconds hand is just crossing the threshold of the index, and push the crown all the way back in. Now you're resuming the beat of the balance. The watch is synchronized to your reference time. It's important to note that that was 2 detents. There are 2 clutch positions. 2 detents out from winding is that stop seconds function. There is also a quick set function for the date, which is 1 detent out from flush to the case, from the winding position. In this position, I can turn the crown counterclockwise, and you'll note that the date window at 4:30 rapidly cycles. This is called the quick set date function. You can rapidly jump between dates. It's important never to use this function between the hours of 9 p.m. and 3 a.m. as this is the automatic rollover when the movement is engaged for 6 hours at the changeover of the date. It jumps instantly, but the process does take a full 6 hours. So if you attempt to use the quick set during that period, you can crash the movement and cause a good deal of damage. If you don't know for sure where you are in the AM or PM cycle, roll all the way past 3. Then you know for a fact you're not in the danger zone. And if you need to roll the date over during the hours of 9 p.m. to 3 a.m., simply manually turn the hands through the rollover of the date and then past 3 a.m. before using the quick set. Always push the crown back in prior to resuming use of your watch. This is not only important for water resistance, but also to protect the watch against shearing. This timepiece is a chronograph that will record elapsed minutes up to 30 and seconds to 1/8 of a second. So that is the beat rate of the movement, 8 beats per second. You push the chronograph trigger at 2 o'clock to start the chronograph function. You push it again to stop the chronograph. Now you can resume by pushing again, but you must always stop the chronograph prior to using the reset trigger at 4 o'clock. If you attempt to reset a running chronograph, you will crash the movement and cause severe damage. So always take note that the chronograph has halted before you use the reset trigger. It's important to note that this timepiece should only be used in conjunction with the correct Bell & Ross strap tool. The strap tool will fit precisely in the aperture on the lug, designed to allow you to swap out straps to change the look of your watch or to prepare it for aquatic activity. It's also important to note that there are 3 primary areas of hazard that your timepiece will encounter: water, magnetism, and shock. We'll discuss water first, since it's ubiquitous and quite dangerous to your timepiece. Though this watch is 100 meters water resistant, which is sufficient per Bell & Ross for aquatic activity but not professional diving, nevertheless, you must always take care because leather, a natural porous material, is never water resistant, and thus it should never be exposed to water. It should always be swapped out for a water resistant band prior to aquatic activity. It's also important to note that you can help avoid accidental drowning. Never use any of the functions of the watch when the watch is submerged or even when there's water on the case, as this can bypass the seals and introduce water to the interior. Now, you can have the chronograph running, for example, while you are in the water. You simply can't cycle it by pressing either of the chronograph triggers. It's also important to note that as you avoid accidental drowning, though 100 meters water resistance, unlike mechanical specification, is not a static feature of the watch. And over time, as seals age and lubricants degrade, the watch will be relatively less water resistant. Therefore, Bell & Ross advises having the watch water tested, dry tested that is, at an authorized Bell & Ross service center at minimum every 24 months. It's also a good time to have the holistic condition of your watch evaluated by your Bell & Ross service specialist. This could include everything from restoration of water resistance to restoration of your watch's chronometric performance, so take care to have a full inspection performed every time you water test. It's also important to remember that though water is easy to spot, magnetism is not, and magnetism can affect the ferrous hairspring at the center of your watch's balance, its beating heart. A magnetized watch will run quickly, run slow, it will run erratically, and if you suspect due to magnetic exposure your watch may have become magnetized, take it to an authorized service center where specialized equipment is available to quickly and easily demagnetize the watch. As a rule of thumb, keep the watch remote from powerful standing magnets like refrigerator doors, speakers, subwoofers, or the closures even of wallets, purses, and of course, the fridge itself is a prime offender, so stay remote from all of these while wearing your watch. It's important to note that though magnetism can be easily reversed, concussion and shock can have more severe consequences. First, this is a ceramic case which has extraordinary scratch resistance. For practical purposes, it's much like a sapphire, so you want to keep the case remote from blunt force trauma or hard blows, just as you would keep a sapphire remote from hard blows against firm or solid objects. Do the same with the case. By keeping the case remote from hard blows, you ensure that it will wear well as it resists all routine scratches and scuffs and will continue to provide both structural integrity as well as handsome good looks long into the future. Other concussive exposures such as shock or vibration can be avoided by disusing the watch during firearms marksmanship, batting, tennis, golf, or the riding of ATVs and mountain bikes. Ultimately, even a properly cared for timepiece will require a comprehensive service per Bell & Ross every 3 to 5 years. Now, I mentioned that you would like to have your watch fully inspected when you have your water test performed, and if it's discovered that a comprehensive overhaul is required, this will include everything from restoration of external appearance to restoration of water resistance as rated by the factory, to disassembly inspection and cleaning, oiling, and readjustment of the movement itself. This should be performed exclusively with Bell & Ross authorized service centers or the Bell & Ross factory itself, as these agencies solely have access to the trained personnel, specialized Bell & Ross tools, and factory replacement parts to protect the value of your watch as both instrument and as investment. Moreover, only these agencies can back all parts and labor invested with an original Bell & Ross factory service warranty. Visit our website at govbergwatches.com and email, text, or call our experts who are standing by to assist you with every phase of the ownership of this or any Bell & Ross fine timepiece.